variety pack. Food and friends with Canada's best. From east to west, there and back. Eat North Variety Pack. 'Cause variety's the spice of life.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our very first Eat North Variety Pack episode of 2021. I'm very excited and also joined by my lovely co-hosts Deepi, Harish, and Mairlyn Smith. Hello, ladies.
Hi.
Hi.
So, 'tis the season for New Year's resolutions, obviously, and I want to know, are you a fan of them? Do you make them? I find I definitely reflect on things that I've done in the past year and try and be better for the following, but I don't know if I make resolutions per se. How about you, Deepi?
I mean, I don't really believe in New Year's resolutions because they die down by February? I do believe in goals, and I believe in making power moves every day, or as often as I can make them. Mayor?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think, resolutions are highly overrated, and I've always sort of planned on goals. And this year I've decided a whole new thing, and that my thing this year is that I'm just going to live one day at a freaking time. And so my goal every day is just to do my very best that day.
Nice.
Right, that's great.
Speaking of, and Dan?
Oh, no, I was thinking about all the resolutions that I haven't seen through in the past 20 years of my life. So I try and be better every day, really.
Speaking of a new year, do you guys notice that you have different eating habits at the beginning of the year? I can personally say that I ate like shit throughout the holidays, and it doesn't come noticed. And so I am on this trend right now. I feel like I want to eat healthy, but I'm also at the same time thinking, when can I test a new cookie recipe? So I'm kind of on the fence. Mayor?
Okay, so I'm one of those, disgusting people who eat brilliantly all year round. So I don't know, and because I don't believe in resolutions, and I really don't believe in diets because that's a bunch of bullshit. I really like. I'm perfect. Okay, moving on. Dan.
I tend to feel quite guilty by, I'd say January 2nd, because over the holidays, I agree with you, Deepi. I indulge in many things, and even on New Year's Day, I might have had 6 pizza pops. So I think come January 2nd, I wouldn't say fully organic whole eating, but I'm definitely eating a few more salads for sure.
Okay, here, I want you to make this for a goal this year,
okay.
Clapson, is that you're going to go get your cholesterol tested, and then you're going to send me the results, okay? I want a full blood work. What?
Okay, I think I need about a month or two just to sort of get back into the, healthy eating kind of pace, and then I'll send you those results. How's that?
Okay, well, there's trends going on. Okay, so my trend for you is don't do that. Just eat normally and then go get the test, because that's a better representation. No, okay, so the trends. So that, food trends, I don't know. Yeah. Drink some wine.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, what do I have in my teacup? Okay, so food trends, they come and go, whatever. I mean, I think I noticed a trend during COVID, and that was people were actually eating at home more. They were actually home cooking. And so I'm hoping that in 2021, that the same wonderful thing happens, is that people are still going to stay home and to cook more often, and then maybe get takeout once a week just to support the restaurants. What do you guys think about trends coming up?
I think that if you didn't become a better home cook in 2020, during multiple lockdowns, then I feel like maybe cooking is just not for you. But I think the people that do love cooking and did cook a lot, I feel like have really progressed in their culinary skills. So I think that home cooks overall have gotten much more skilled. And I think this year we'll see a lot of home cooks more willing to put more time into cooking. And maybe you're tackling the, baking projects or, large scale dinner projects that you otherwise wouldn't want to dedicate the time to. I think people will now. What do you think?
Right, I agree with you. I'm actually writing a piece about how to plate like a pro, because again, so many home cooks are getting better at it and want to get better at it. In terms of trends, I hope one that actually comes into fruition is having more reasonably priced premium booze. I feel like that's.
Well, come to Alberta. That's all we have here.
Sorry.
Come to Alberta. That's all we have here.
Really, I can't say the same about Toronto, but
no.
Here's to hoping.
Yeah.
Or we could all make Clapson's, what did you make? Your Baileys? Yeah. I'll make that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe I'll bottle it for this holiday season, but I don't want to jump 11 months into the future, because that's kind of depressing. Or maybe not, because maybe the pandemic will be over. Who knows? But all right. Well, I think it's time to bring on our very first guest, the first guest of the year is Jess Hoy. She is a morning co-host on Wild 95.3 FM, which is a country radio station here in Calgary. And outside of that, she is what I would call a Twitter comedian. Very hilarious. Let's bring her on here. Hello, Jess.
Hi.
Welcome to the show. It's great to have you.
If you hear any weird grunting noises, it's the dog. It's not me.
Okay. It could be Mairlyn too, just to know. Yeah. All right. I have a question for you, actually. I think it's interesting in light of what's happened yesterday, and I don't want to bring things down too much, but being a morning radio host, how do the events of yesterday factor into what you talk about on the radio, the day of or the day following?
I mean, for us, we aren't really a news source. Right. We try to keep things fairly light. So we talk about it in our news updates, obviously, but then we try to keep things light. And the last 10 months has been really negative in the news cycles and with everything. So that's just been our goal, is to keep things as an escape for people instead of being another place for people to go to hear more of the same negativity, the doom scrolling. We don't want to be doom scrolling brought to light. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I definitely agree with you. You need the light to balance out the darkness for sure. One thing that I do like about you both, again, on social and in your morning show, is that you always come up with very hilarious life situations, some of which have happened to you. And actually recently I heard you talking about why you shouldn't eat icicles on air, and also confessing to having eaten an icicle recently. So I just thought maybe you can regale my co-host with that story and our viewers.
Yeah, they look clear and delicious. So you just snap one off and you eat it, but you think about where they come from. Your roof, where birds crap. So there is bird food in every single icicle you've ever eaten in your life. So don't.
Well, we have a raccoon situation in Ontario, so especially in Toronto. So, ew!
I love raccoons. I would trade you in a heartbeat.
Oh, no,
these ones are not friendly.
No, and they're pooing.
You just have to work harder at it.
Hey, you think it's bad with bird poo? This is raccoon poo. Anyway, I have a big question. You are hilarious on Twitter. I would trolled you for a while. Anyway, so. One of you got so many funny ones, but the one that made me laugh out loud was the fact that you came a roundabout way of saying you hated doing puzzles. And if you could remember how it went, but basically, wasn't it, if everyone did all the edges and then just filled it all in, you'd be good with it. So why do you hate puzzles? Because I hate them too.
I did puzzles all the time growing up with my mom, and she would go through the box and find all the edge pieces, and then we'd work on the edges together, and then she would do all the parts that were not fun. I'd do all the faces and the easy parts, and she'd do all the filler. When you live alone, the filler is all up to you, and it is the worst. I did a 1,000-piece puzzle over Christmas, and I would say that has been my rock bottom of pandemic. It was awful. And then you finish it, and what do? You just take it apart and put it back in the box to do it again another time? No.
I don't get it.
And I'm not going to glue it. It's ugly. It's I don't want a big picture of Ursula the Sea Witch on my wall. Because I love art so much.
I also really dislike puzzles, and I tried to do one with my partner, and I was sitting down for maybe 30 minutes, and after that he's like, you can go and you never have to do a puzzle with me again.
I kept a tally. I had a rule. I had to do 100 pieces a day because I'm I can't have this puzzle on my table for the rest of my life. Right. So I would literally have a tally, and I'm I want to go to bed, but I still have 80 more pieces to go. And I'd be up until midnight, which is very late for me, trying to get this stupid puzzle done. Not a good time.
No. Deepi.
Yeah, when did you know, this is a random question, nothing to do with puzzles, but when did you know that you want to be a morning host, this is your calling? Yeah. They say that you actually know by 9 years old what you want to do is what you want to do for life, but did you know at that early age?
I did, yeah. I was a little kid wanting to be on radio. I'd call radio stations, request songs, and all of that, but I took the long way, and I actually became a nurse first, because my parents told me that radio was not maybe the best option. So I became a nurse. I did that for 5 years, and then I had a quarter life crisis. 25 hit, and I was I need something. So I traveled a bunch, came back, and was nursing. I'm still I don't like this. So I went to the Muppet movie, and in the Muppet movie, Walter wants to be a Muppet, and he becomes a Muppet, and I'm bawling. And my friends that I was there with, they're what's happening? You can be a Muppet, so can I. literally went home that night, applied to SAIT's broadcasting program, got in, and when I told my parents, I said, hey, I'm moving to Calgary, I'm going to take broadcasting, they both said, finally. Like, they knew that it was part of my journey, but I think they both wanted me to have that, like, backup job that I could fall back on. So, yeah, it definitely took a long way, but it was worth it.
That's
You didn't have to
great.
pass on something else because you're great at this.
Oh, thank you.
Jess, I was an actor. When I told my mom and dad I wanted to be an actor, I always say that they heard hooker. Do you know, like, it's like, you can't do that. So the fact that your mom and dad knew that you should be a broadcaster, that is, you're blessed. That's so great.
Mm-hmm.
So since you went to school at SAIT, you know, you have a career now, and Wild 95.3 is a great station, you know, all country music, lots of great Canadian country talent on there as well. How have you seen the landscape of the radio industry change in the past 10 years? And how does social media have to complement what you're doing on air?
I mean, social media is a huge part of what we do now and what we're expected to do. And I like it because I really enjoy coming up with stuff to do on social media. How radio's changed, though, is it's kind of shrunk. The industry has shrunk. There's not a lot of small market jobs anymore. A lot of them are syndicated from larger markets. So for people just starting out, it's kind of tough. Like, there used to be overnight positions and 2 weekend hosts, and now, like, almost every station is just bare bones, like, very few people working, if any. Like, some of the small markets, they don't have live shows at all anymore.
No, I agree, and I'm aware of that, and it is weird to watch it change in that respect. I think one thing that I like about Wild 95.3 is that you have the yearly artist development program that you support, you know, emerging country acts in Alberta and help them find success. Do you want to talk a bit about that? I know it was put on pause last year because of the pandemic, but I think you'll probably have plans to bring it back this summer.
Yeah, it's supposed to come back for at least one more year. So Project Wild, where people can, you know, send in the whole package, their performances, songs they've written, things like that. And Alberta Music goes through and they pick a top 10. And then they have showcases, top 10 or top 12. I think it's top 12. And they do showcases where they perform for a crowd. And then, from there they do like a boot camp, all sorts of things. And then Alberta Music gets to pick, which I'm so thankful for, because if we were in charge of any of the judging, like, the talent is so incredible.
It really is.
Insane in this province.
No, it really, really is. So out of all the people you've interviewed in your career, who is your favorite celebrity you've ever chatted with?
Well, you brought in one of my favorites, Christina Bell. That was
thought you'd say that.
One of the coolest moments ever. Like, just such a larger than life person. I don't think I've ever put on that much makeup to do a morning show. Like, I don't want her to think I'm gross. But probably the biggest for me, and it wasn't even an interview, it was just a meet and greet. It was Tim McGraw and Faith Hill. Wow. Walking into that room, they are so stunning, like, so stunning. And I worked all day to think about what I was going to say. Like, I had my opening line, and I walk into the room, and they're standing there, and I did a lunge, and I said, "Oh, you're attractive." It didn't go well, but...
I mean, who doesn't love a compliment, right?
Yeah. They're, like, it's bizarre how good looking they, like, I don't trust them.
Okay, well, we'll leave you to linger in that thought, and I know you have to get up early, but thank you for being on the show, Jess. It's great to kick off the year with you, and it's always awesome to chat with you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime.
Thank you.
Bye.
That was a fun chat.
Oh, she's great. She's great. She's so funny. Yeah, smart too. I like
Good
her.
energy.
Like the perfect combo, just like you two ladies.
You're so smooth, Clapson.
Ever the flatterer, you know. That's my resolution, to flatter you two more, and Carmen.
Oh, okay. All right.
When she's on next week. But.
I noticed that Mary and I didn't say we're going to flatter you.
Well, I would also appreciate the flattery in return. Yes, that would be great. But so we've changed up the show format a little bit in the new year. So we're just going to have one guest that we talked to a little bit longer. That was Jess, that was just on earlier. And then we're going to have a musician wrap up the show like always, but we're actually going to chat with them after. So first, we're going to have the talented Megan Dawson, a pop singer based in Calgary. She's going to sing her latest single, Golden Hour.
Keep the blinds
castle in this bed of mine, building more around my mind. My mind, 'cause I'm just going through it. Why do I always do this? Gotta remind myself, is this a golden hour? Raining on me with showers. And don't you forget, may I interject like June, July, or hot like the summer. Gets darker when it's colder, and you just want it to be over. I wish I had what you have, when you're looking like that. Looking like that, looking like that, looking like that, looking like that. I'm surrounded by people I don't know. Can I just go home? I just wanna be alone. While everybody's thriving, I'm over here just trying to keep on smiling. 'Cause I'm just going through it. Why do I always do this? Gotta remind myself, is this a golden hour? Raining on me, April showers. And don't you forget, may I interject like June, July, or hot like the summer. Gets darker when it's colder, and you just want it to be over. I wish I had what you have, when you're looking like that. Looking like that, looking like that, looking like that, looking like that. Sometimes I just wanna be sad, wanna feel good, only feel bad. Sometimes can't see all that I am, and all I have is this a golden hour. Raining on me, April showers. And don't you forget, may I interject like June, July, or hot like the summer. Gets darker when it's colder, and you just want it to be over. I wish I had what you have, when you're looking like that. Looking like that, looking like that, looking like that, looking like that. Is this a golden hour? Raining on me, but showers. And don't you forget, may I interject like June, July, or hot like the summer.
Yay!
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And thank you for helping kick off our Eat North Variety Pack for the new year. Really appreciate it. So why don't you tell me a little bit about that song?
Yeah, for sure. This one was kind of fun because I wrote it with my friend Chelsea Hayslip. She's a songwriter out of Calgary as well. And she brought this idea of me of just like, or to me, when it was just like, when things, especially this really, relates to now, where you're just feeling like extremely low, there's like no light at the end of the tunnel, like life kind of sucks. And then you go over time and like a year later, you look back at like, say, pictures of yourself. You think back to where you were and you're like, you know what? I was actually in like a pretty cool spot. I really just shouldn't have been as hard on myself. And it kind of makes you think like, in this moment, I need to start finding kind of those beautiful moments to reflect on rather than trying to find the negative to hold on to. And so try and find your golden hour. And
so for this year, for 2021, what is your golden hour then?
Oh my gosh, I think honestly, just kind of still, actually one of the things that I've been trying to focus on is like still writing and like creating music and everything, but really trying to also focus on outside of music, just self-care and making sure that in general, just like looking at my life and all of the things that I have in it, just making sure I'm putting, priorities of taking care of myself first, my mental health first. And especially now, it's just, I've realized having the time to think about that, how important that is. And I think in general, that'll maybe help even just like translating over into music, just writing kind of the stuff that makes me feel good, coming from the soul when the soul's feeling good. So.
Absolutely. It's hard to disagree with that. Anyway, thank you again so much for being on the show. We really appreciate having you. It was great.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. And that brings us to the end of our very first episode of 2021 for Eat North Variety Pack. I'm your host, Dan Clapson, joined by Deepi, Harish, Mairlyn Smith as always, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Eat North Variety Pack. Food and friends with Canada's best. From east to west, there and back. Eat North Variety Pack. 'Cause variety's the spice of life.